The March 30th, 2017 meeting of the Transportation Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Brown. Here. Chairman Howland.
Here.
Mr. Lightfoot. Mr. Michikay. Here. Mr. Rocco. Here. Mr. Shepard. Here. Mr. Zale.
Here. Well, is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Okay. Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the February 28th, 2017 minutes of the Transportation Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 17-0100, authorized contracts.
Moved by Legislator Michikay, seconded by Legislator Zale. Is there any discussion? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, are you able to tell me about the Greenman Peterson Incorporated? This is an organization that I'm not necessarily familiar with. Just a little brief synopsis.
Through the chair, they're an engineering firm. I don't have specifics on how long they've been in business. They opened an office in Monroe County a few years ago. They're based out of, I know they got offices in both Buffalo and Albany, okay. And then now they have an office here as well. But they've been in business a long time. They just have not done business in Monroe County.
Okay, thank you. And through you, Mr. Chairman, which capital funds currently include the monies for this, these contracts?
Through the chair, it could be various of our fund centers as well as the capital funds that we have in traffic engineering or on highway for spot improvements or in the culvert fund, depending on what projects we choose to use these firms for. There's not any specific projects at this time, so.
I got you.
But they're listed in the referral, I think, all the different funds. Are all the funds listed there?
Thank you.
It says various, so that's.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you. I have no more any questions.
Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, the item passes. Madam Clerk.
Referral 17-0101.
Moved by Legislator Zale, seconded by Legislator Brown. Folks, can we settle down, please? Is there any discussion on this item? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, the item passes. Madam Clerk.
Referral 17-0102, authorize a contract.
Moved by Legislator Brown, seconded by Legislator Rocco. Legislator Zale.
Through the chair to the administration, I'm curious what the basic construction costs are and why they're included as part of this referral.
Through the chair, I guess I'm not understanding the question about your construction costs.
Let me ask it again then. Through the chair, what are the various costs that are included in this total amount that's in this referral?
Through the chair, what we're requesting is the award of the design contract to the Wendell Engineering, and then we also identify, and we usually do tell you what the cost is for design and construction combined. That's what that number is.
Okay. And also through the chair to the administration, what's the timeline for a project like this or for this specific project?
Through the chair, we'll be working on the design, get approval here this year and in the next year with an anticipated construction in 2019.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chairman. Again, similar to the previous question, Wendell WD Architecture isn't a company that I'm so familiar with from past projects. Through you, Mr. Chairman, will the administration please, if they can, tell me a little bit about the Wendell Architecture?
Through the chair, similar to GPI, Greenman Pedersen, Wendell, they just in the last few years opened an office in Monroe County. They're located primarily, their main office is in Buffalo, but they've been doing engineering and surveying and such work for several years. Just not for us.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item passes. Madam Clerk?
Referral 17-0103, authorize a
Moved by Legislator Rocco, seconded by Legislator Michike. Is there any discussion? Legislator Lightfoot.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, with the administration, can you just briefly, and I think I've asked this before, what other lighting rehab projects have been completed so far in the County of Monroe?
Through the chair, there haven't been any other that have been completed. We are just starting the design of two. One called Northwest 1 and one Northwest 2. I believe Northwest 1 was approved last night, or Tuesday night maybe, or recently. And this is Northwest 2. This is going to cover the 390 section from Brooks up through up towards 104, except for the 390, 490 interchange, because that's going to be done under a state project. And then the other project that's in design is going from 490 from 390 out towards Union Street.
Just for a moment, Mr. Chairman. So I kind of lost my place on this digital. So are the lighting projects including LED? Is that what we are? We talking about new, new wiring or new poles? I apologize. It does says here LED lights, I think.
Through the chair, correct. The engineer will go through, and we did a study that was completed last year that kind of give us an overview and approximate cost of things, but we'll be replacing some lighting poles. We're looking to replace the entire conduit system and the wiring, and then upgrading to LEDs, but not all poles will be replaced.
I see it right here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Legislator Lightfoot. There being no further discussion, I'm sorry, Legislator Brown.
Through the chair, what's the timeline of this project?
Through the chair, we're going to be working on the design, provided this passes through the board, or through the legislature, in 17 and 18, with construction in 2019 start.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item passes. Madam Clerk?
Referral 17-0104, authorize a contract.
Moved by Legislator Michike, seconded by Legislator Zale. Was there any discussion? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration. It's been giving me a note here that this project is roughly about 2.4 miles, and the contract is over $5 million. To you, Mr. Chairman, just in a bluntly way, can you tell me why the contract seems so high? Any thoughts?
Through the chair, that's an estimate for the design, the inspection, as well as the construction. That $5.6 million. Certainly, as we have the design done and know what's involved specifically, that might be adjusted, and we'll only end up whatever the bids come in at. But we anticipate we got to see what we need to do in terms of the pavement. Hopefully, we'll be able to just mill off part of it and pave it back. But there's a lot of drainage work there. There's a lot of culverts that, the pipes that go under the road into the lake, towards the lake, that drains a lot of Monroe County as it goes, everything goes north to the lake. So and the drainage, as well as putting shoulders in and doing some reconstruction of the road. It would probably be, if it was reconstructing the whole road, it'd even be higher. But we hope to do it for that amount or less.
So through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, I don't see where, are we anticipating any grant or federal dollars to help fund this, or is this something that we've already laid out in our capital improvement plan?
Through the chair, this has been, it's in our CIP, yes. We did try for federal dollars and were unsuccessful.
So through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, have we bonded this currently, or no?
Oh, through the chair, no, we would not bond, and we'll only bond as we spend the money as
Right.
well. Am I right,
Gotcha.
Mr. Finance Director?
Thank you.
Any further discussion, Legislator Zale?
Through the chair, quick question. I'm just curious, this is a good chunk of change here for CNS engineers. Just wondering how many other or how many consultants were considered for this project?
Through the chair, there was 8 firms that we had shortlisted that were sent in. There are many that sent in interest, and we shortlisted to 8, with CNS ranking first for this project.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item passes.
Referral 17-0105, authorized contract.
Moved by Legislator Zale, seconded by Legislator Brown. Is there any discussion? Legislator Lightfoot?
Mr. Chairman, to the administration, will CNS provide any of the construction work on this project, or just a preliminary design? Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Through the chair, we're on 105, I think, Legislator. So it's Labella.
Okay.
CNS was the other one.
Thank you so much.
Any further discussion?
You still has the same question.
Lies, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
So not CNS, but will Labella be providing any construction work? I'm sorry.
Through the chair, yes. Well, yes and no. They will not do any of the actual construction. Labella will be involved in overseeing having to do any changes if there's necessary once we get to construction with plans, as well as if they do a good job on the design, we will amend their our contract and give them the inspection if they do a good job.
Oh, okay, I understand. So not necessarily the construction, but the inspection of the construction of the work by another contractor.
By a contractor. These are consulting engineers by a contractor such as we approved for
Exactly.
the other project. Yes.
I understand. Thank you so much.
Legislator Zale.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I know Labella Associates to be a very reputable, well-respected for their services in engineering. Similar to my previous question, I'm curious how many other consultants were considered for this project.
Through the chair, we did those together, and there was 8 as well, and they were awarded this Mendon Center project with CNS, the other project.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item passes. Madam Clerk.
Referral 17-0106, amend the 2017.
Moved by Legislator Brown, seconded by Legislator Racco. Is there any discussion? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, why is there a need for an increase of funding?
Through the chair, the design ended up taking, we did not put enough money in design to do the work, so we need money in to cover the design cost, as well as we had bid this once and only received 1 bidder, and they really didn't hit the mark on what we wanted to have done, so we rebid it. so there was additional cost to rebid it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So 80% of this will be from federal aid, and that's always great. So we're going to definitely jump on that. Do we know what were the engineer estimates, or are they here provided for us? I think they're provided. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Madam Clerk. Item passes.
Referral 17-0107, amend the 2017.
Moved by Legislator Racco, seconded by Legislator Michike. Is there any discussion? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the administration, are we looking to bond this entire project?
Through the chair, no, we would not need to at this time because we're not doing the construction, and we'll bond what we need to pay for the design.
Okay, so we want to, through you, Mr. Chairman, add to the capital budget a project entitled Highway Preventive Maintenance Number 5. And so we also want to finance for $194,000. So will we be paying this out of some type of general fund through you, Mr. Chairman, or is this something that we're asking to bond those funds as well?
Mr. Chair, what we are doing is seeking to add a project to our capital improvement program.
Okay.
Funding will be authorized through legislative action that would allow for what we typically call financing. We throw the words around bonding, but the reality is this project is roughly 95% reimbursed. So we will, the county will not issue bonds. It likely will issue a series of short-term notes.
Okay, so we would do some short-term notes. So then, in the long run, so right now we want to add to the plan, but there's an estimated amount of $4.7 million, and then from there we wouldn't necessarily bond because we'll get those dollars back up on the grant and federal. However, we will have to borrow some money on short-term notes. So, with that being said, by us borrowing those funds, we'll be making payments to pay those back. And what do we believe that the grant and federal, state and federal grant schedule will be as them reimbursing us, so that we can make our notes in a timely manner, or are we going to pay those notes on our own and then reimburse ourselves once the grant comes in? So what's the timeline of the grant? I guess that's what I'm asking. Do we know?
Through the chair, as we expend money, whether we're to pay to consultant for the work, we submit reimbursement requests to the state for the federal money as well as the state money. I will say the state money takes a little bit longer to come in, but you know we do that on I believe it's the finance office does it on a monthly basis.
Correct.
So it just might take 3 to 6 months for the state money to get in. Usually the federal money comes in a little bit quicker from the state.
And so, okay, great. So those payments that we will be making in the interim of that 3 to 6 months, that's something that our budget can handle, or what? I don't know how that works. And making those note payments, I guess that's my question. You know, if it's going to take 3 to 6 months to get a reimbursement, and we have these short-term notes that we have to pay on a monthly payment, then how are we going to meet that?
Mr. Chairman, it all depends on the timing of when the costs are incurred for this project, and by timing I mean the time of year. It may be in a time of year, early summer, when existing cash balances are healthy enough. The road fund could advance its own cash for these projects rather than borrowing on a short-term note, or perhaps the general fund could advance money to the road fund to advance on these projects. If it is in the latter part of the year, it may be a 5 or 6 month note that is issued, and repayment of that note would be accounted for in the 2018 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Referral 17-0108, amendment.
Moved by legislator Michike, seconded by legislator Zale. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item carries. Madam Clerk?
Referral 17-0109, authorize the acquisition.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Brown. Legislator Zale, you have something you'd like to ask?
I do. Through the chair to the administration, the wording says acquisition of interest in real property. I'm curious if eminent domain was used for these parcels and what specifically we need these parcels for as well. Through the chair.
Through the chair, eminent domain was not used. It's a combination of potential drainage and asphalt replacement.
Sorry, through the chair, what was the last part?
Asphalt replacement.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There be no other matters. The March 30th, 2017 meeting of the Transportation Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Transportation Committee is scheduled for Thursday, April 25th, 2017 at 5:15 p.m.